Well, the Institute compiles state-level campaign finance data. So transparency is at the core of the work we do. It is our mission, compiling from all 50 states, the fragmented data that's out there and creating it in a uniform format. We are essentially the FEC for the states, for all 50 states, which are still back in the 20th century where technology is concerned. So we combined all the data into one database, add lobbyist data to it, the donor data for state parties and ballot measures, and try to create then the real robust body of knowledge at the state level that will allow people to start examining the policy issues that often come from the federal level down to the states or from the states up to the top. So transparency is at the core of what we do. And what it means, of course, is that from really a fairly conservative standpoint, if we know more about how our political and policy processes work, then we can find out where the efficiencies are and the inefficiencies. And it is by understanding this almost business-like approach to say, okay, does our political system work? Does our electoral system work? How do we tweak it to make it better? Is our policy system working okay, or how do we tweak it to get it better? I think most Americans, if they looked out around the world, they would find that we live in an amazing place, we have an amazing system of government that we can undergo a transition like we just experienced without guns or bloodshed. But it's not perfect. We can always tweak it, and so what we hope is that our baseline information will lead to discussions that will help us figure out what's not working and what little things do we need to do to make it better. Well, it's funny because when we first started this, the challenge, of course, was creating this gigantic database from all the 50 fragmented systems. Well, we've done that, and we've done it for 5 election cycles now, and we've gathered the lobbyist data, and we've combined it with APIs and committee assignments so that all this amazing knowledge is there, and it's all coming from these public agencies who really want to help us. In between are some lawmakers who, for some reason, don't really get it yet. They don't understand that there's not a good reason for them not to let their disclosure agencies, the ethics commissions, have budgets that help promote democracy and the help of democracy. They're still threatened. They think everybody's going to do a gotcha piece. And if they're doing something wrong, well, gosh, they're going to get gotcha. But let's elevate the bar above the, I'm not doing anything illegal, which is the standard, line you get from a politician when you ask them. They say, I'm not doing anything illegal. Why don't we raise the bar to, are you doing what's in the public's best interest? That's what we want to do, is create the framework of information so that it is this policy in the public's best interest? How much does it cost the taxpayer? Does it make sense? Are the job centers close to mass transit? Simple questions like that if you have evidence-based policy, if you use your evidence properly, you're going to end up saving the taxpayers a lot of money. And so from the conservative standpoint, transparency translates into more money to do more of what needs to be done, the homes, the feeding the poor, healthcare, whatever. We eliminate all the paperwork in between and just let technology do what it does really well, which is help people communicate and measure demand and see problems and create new tools for analyzing whatever the next challenge is. We have millions of people coming to our website, and they inevitably want to know either about a major donor who they have read about in the paper or something, or they want to know about their lawmaker. So if you provide them with this simple information, then they're going to want to go out and become more involved. They're curious. So the challenge for us now is they've got the data. They're curious. How do we get them to take that next step? How do we tell the story that yes, you should take that next step? It's really important for you to be involved, because if money in politics is a problem, well, you can answer it with a small donor solution. You can get more people involved, and you can reduce the impact of big donors. if your problem is healthcare, where you can have people looking at the healthcare donors and have conversations with them and move them to lawmakers and have different conversations that aren't dominated by the lobbyists, but are dominated by groups of people who understand who are playing in that field and say, oh, these guys are saying this, but we have 20 people who are saying this, and they've had a real problem with the way those guys are doing business. So it creates an intersection of information, an intersection of interest, and a place for some real meaningful dialogue and hopefully change to happen. I've been doing this for 16 years now, and I approach it from the point of a journalist that if you provide good information, people will generally make pretty good decisions. And we just kept putting it out there, sort of on faith that would happen. And then when you see it reach a point of takeoff or critical mass, it's incredibly exciting, especially when you see now an administration that comes in and they understand that transparency is a change agent of its own. It is a change. It can be good or bad. That's not we don't need to decide that. It just needs to be there. Then, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's amazing to be here. It's amazing to see so many different people from such amazing backgrounds. And I sit down with any one of these people and we're clicking because we're all thinking about the same thing. How do we get this information out? How is it in the public's best interest for something else to happen? What is the next place? We don't know it, but that's what's exciting about it, is we don't know. We're going there. This is an adventure. And it's really cool. And so this is an amazing meeting for that. And Sunlight has done an amazing job of really raising the issue at many different levels.